Hello everyone, I'm Griffin and we are back with another reaction video. This time we are reacting to another one of whatever podcast clips. This video is called She Called Brian Small-Minded for Having Standards. Now, I don't understand why a lot of women, not all, I know there's probably a good majority of women who don't think like this, but I don't understand why there are women who think that think it's horrible for a man to have standards for the kind of woman that he wants. I mean, these women have ridiculous standards of their own, and they're looking for like the top 10-20% of men that even they have probably no chance of getting. And yet when a man has standards, they flip the fuck out. Like, why? I mean, what's so wrong about a man having standards, but you women can have all these outlandish standards of your own? Everyone has the right to have their own standards for their partner, not just you, not just these ladies. So let's get right into the video, shall we?
You were surprised that like women would like still date her or whatever, even though she.
I'm not surprised that there are women who would date her. Or men that would date you. What I've always been trying to say is, for the majority of people, what I would say, whether they're man or woman, most people don't want to date someone who's a prostitute.
Well, I would date somebody like that, so I'm saying,
I think you're missing, I think you're just not trying to listen to what I'm saying. I'm not saying that there's zero people that, there's people that would date you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying for the majority of people don't want to date a prostitute.
I heard that.
Do you disagree with that? It seems like you want to push back and say no.
I said yes.
99% of people want to date prostitutes.
I disagreed like 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
Within the span of when you asked me the first time.
Okay.
But I'm saying now, if a girl is doing OnlyFans or is a legal escort at the Bunny Ranch or whatever, and I'm into her or whatever, we could be dating. And then what?
A girl who comes to visit you at your place
I'm
of
saying
work?
a coworker, like a person I work with. I'm saying
do you think
an individual that does only OnlyFans. I'm saying. Say I meet a girl that only does OnlyFans.
Would she date you? Is that?
And we date.
Hit it off.
Yeah, we hit it off. Yeah.
I mean, it could happen.
We could get married. That's what I'm saying. That'd be perfect for me.
I don't disagree with your statement at all.
But it's just
I don't disagree with your statement at all.
That men around,
You're just saying you don't think it's common.
don't
What's
care
that?
You're just saying you don't
do escort or sex work, you know?
You're just saying you don't think
that's
it's
what we're
common. Like
saying.
most women wouldn't be cool with it.
I think most women and most men would prefer to not date someone who's been involved
If
with
you're talking
prostitution.
about a queer woman, I actually think she wouldn't care if she was a.
They don't seem to be getting it through their thick fucking skull. They understand that there are people who would date them, but they don't seem to understand that they're in the very, very small minority. I'd say when it comes to men, about probably 95% or so of men don't want to date a woman who has been ran through by the entire football team and then some. I mean, I think it's fine if they've slept with maybe a couple of people and it didn't work out with them. That's fine. But if they've slept with multitudes of people and are continuously doing that and are doing that for a career, then they have a very, very, very small chance of finding somebody who wants to date them long term and possibly marry them. Doing this sort of sex work stuff destroys the possibility of being able to find somebody that wants to marry you and have kids with you, because you have videos out there of you doing sexual shit with either by yourself or with other people.
An escort with mostly male clients, she might be jealous or not like if you were servicing other women.
But the thing is that I would be dating another sex worker.
What does sexuality have to do with political affiliation?
Because we know what progressives think about that, okay? That's really not...
Like being okay with gay people? Or what do you mean?
No, that's not... I didn't say
God.
gay people.
Well, what do you mean by that?
I know the road you're going.
I'm
And
asking what you
Just ask
mean.
what you meant.
I don't know what you mean.
Sorry, repeat that.
You were saying like we know what progressives think, and I was just making
Yeah,
a
we know
comment
what
about
progressives
sexuality.
are pushing for. We know what they're pushing for. They're pushing for the normalization of sex work. That's what you guys are trying to do right now. So you say, yeah, a queer person or somebody that's like more progressive, yeah. That's like the same people. Yeah, go for it. Go with a progressive person if you want to, but most men in general aren't okay dating a sex worker. That is not an opinion, it's a fact.
Oh, it's an opinion, I feel like.
No, it's a fact.
I feel like it's an opinion.
You feel like it's an opinion.
Just because you feel like it's an opinion doesn't take away from the fact that it is a fact. Most people don't want to date somebody who's making money off their body for sex. Most people don't want to do that. They want to have somebody who's more pure, who doesn't, let their body get run through by guy after guy after guy after guy after guy. This is a fact. Believe it or not, your opinion doesn't matter or doesn't change the fact that it is a fact.
I feel like it's
but
an
it's a
opinion.
fact.
And
Look it
you
up.
feel like it's a
It's an
fact.
opinion or a fact.
So
feel like it's a
don't.
No, there is no
And we can
feeling
agree
like
to
it's a fact.
disagree.
Do you know what a fact is?
Yeah,
Facts
but
don't care
we-
about your feelings.
Okay, define what a fact is then.
How are you?
She's
It's
saying
not an
where are you getting your
opinion.
facts?
A fact that has been something that has been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt through multitudes of studies and multitudes of research, and has been proven time and time and time and time again. It's just these ladies, I swear to God.
From
That it's,
pull up the facts
where are
then
your
real quick.
facts?
All
Ryan,
you
will you pull
Wikipedia.
that
Pull up the
up
facts.
for me right now?
I don't know if
don't
they've
think stats
done a
exist.
study on
Polls.
this.
No, exactly,
That's
because you
not
can't
even
say that it's a
accurate.
fact if you don't have the backup.
And
for
also,
it.
I wanted to
do.
add.
No, I don't need a study to be done and look up into the sky and know that the sky is blue.
It's just
Yes,
talking.
but you're talking about somebody that isn't going to be with a sex worker. How are you going to tell two different men if they're going to be with a sex worker or not? That's not up to you.
I can probably guarantee you can go on the streets and ask any guy that if they would date a sex worker long term to marriage and have kids, and I can probably guarantee you most of them would say no. They don't want that. They'll be fine with sleeping with you and probably dating you short term, but to date up to marriage and have kids, they would more than likely say no to a sex worker, because they don't want that in their life. They don't want that their kids to go through having them being bullied because their mother has been found on the internet having sex with multitudes of dudes or doing stuff to herself with toys and shit. It's not good.
To decide or for you to even assume that they wouldn't pick sex workers.
I think it's pretty easy to make the assumption that most people would not want to date a prostitute.
and
Do you think
that
that's a good
is people
preference?
that are
Have what?
small minds like you.
How's it small-minded?
Because
That's
it's like
big-
How
That's
is that
big
not
brain.
small-minded
That's
to go
big.
and sell your body
Because
in a
it's like,
bro
that's
tell?
She calls it small-minded because she doesn't like it, that it doesn't coincide with what she believes.
how you feel and that's how you think,
It's
and not
not about
everybody's
how I
gonna
feel.
think that
What about
way.
people
But,
that
okay,
are with
you
their
keep-
are in a relationship and they both do things like that together? What
Oh,
about
you guys,
good.
you guys are like.
Go
Stop,
do
stop,
that
stop,
together.
stop. You guys are missing the point. I've repeatedly said over and over again, I'm not saying that it will be impossible for you to find a person to date you. I'm not saying that every single person on the planet would not date a prostitute. I am saying most. So when I'm saying most, I'm saying more than 50%. It could be 51%. It may very well be that 49% of people would date you. What I'm saying is most. So at bare minimum, 51%, I would say the majority of people would not date a prostitute.
Can I?
And I would say it's 50-50.
But do you think, wait, really quick?
You would say it's 50, exactly
Yeah.
50-50, exactly 50-50.
Yes, I would say it's 50-50.
No, it's not. I would say probably 80-90% of people would not date a prostitute, and about 10 to 20% of people would.
And
Can
that
I
is my
say-
opinion, right?
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
I think
a lot of people would say that they wouldn't, but if they made that connection,
They would.
I mean, I think it.
Go ahead.
No, you can say what you
No,
gotta
go ahead.
say.
Finish your
I wanna
statement.
hear
Finish
it.
your statement. Go ahead.
I want to play off with what you're gonna say, so I want you
No,
to
finish
say.
your. You were in the middle. Go ahead.
I
Complete your.
lost my train of thought now.
Because
You were saying that if the connection was there, then
Yeah,
somebody would
I think
date.
it would play a role in.
That still doesn't make the majority, nor the 50%. That means
No, I'm not
if-
saying
if-
that.
if-
I don't know. I don't know any statistics. I don't know that. But I'm saying I think if you did a study, I think more people would say that they wouldn't than
Here.
would
Can
be
you
I've-
just
real.
admit
Stop.
that?
I have a clarifying question that might. Let's see. How tall is your boyfriend?
6'2",
How tall are you?
5'7".
You're 5'7", he's 6'2". Would you date a guy who's shorter than you?
I would.
You would?
I would.
Really?
If the connection was there, I
Oh my
would.
God, that's
Stop
such
the
cap.
cap.
Okay.
It's not.
Wait, do you think women
how are
don't
you
date
gonna
men
tell
shorter
me?
than them?
Like,
What's
for
the-
real,
I
Brian?
think there needs to be, like, of course we can say, like, if
The majority of women would date somebody who's taller than them.
the connection is, I don't even know what that really
like,
means.
if you
It's
saying that
just
you
fucking
could think
there.
that you weren't
There
going to,
needs
and then you meet
be-
one you fall in love.
Like most people are not going to give a person a chance for a supposed connection to even develop, because the primary thing people are going to screen on is there just a base level of physical attraction. That's the first step. Then a connection can develop. However, it's unless you're like withholding the fact that you guys are prostitutes and playing these dudes and waiting until months into the relationship before revealing you're a prostitute. If you're upfront with the fact that you're a prostitute, and you should with romantic partners, there's not going to be the ability for a connection to develop, because most men's standard is to not date a prostitute.
I always kind of wondered, is she like the little mascot or something? Because she's always in the background. She's always there.
Okay, but
You seem like a very pleasant person. However, you're a prostitute. That's an immediate no-go. Otherwise, I think you're an attractive girl and you have a very pleasant personality. But because you're involved in sex work, it's an immediate disqualifier. It's a deal breaker. There's no scenario, even though you seem like, honestly, you're one of the most pleasant women we've ever had on the show. You're an attractive girl. I just would, and I'm not saying this to be mean or anything. I wouldn't date you because of the work that you're involved with. And that's the end of the story. In the same way that there's plenty of women who don't want to date me because I've got this ridiculous podcast and I'm out there on the internet. I don't object to
them?
women not wanting to date me because I'm out there and I have, maybe controversial opinions. I think that's fine.
Well, it
But I'm
gives
not
the
gonna sit
community
here-
do you think it's a
voice.
better preference for people to immediately disqualify somebody from dating them just because they do sex work? Do you think that's a good thing?
There's a lot of fish in the pool, and yes, I think in the same way that women disqualify men very quickly for a myriad of reasons, yes, sex work is a perfectly valid immediate disqualifier.
Yeah, I'm not saying whether or not people are empowered to do that. Obviously, you can do that, but I'm asking, like, would you say that people ought to be doing that?
They ought to be doing that. If I were
So,
to
like,
give,
if
if
they-
I were to advise men, if I were to advise my audience who are watching, if I were to advise my son, if I were to advise my male friends, or just men in general, yes, I would strongly recommend not dating prostitutes.
Brian, have I tell you nothing? I've given you all the ammunition you need to shoot down anyone who says sex work or high body count are okay. Why most people would reject someone who lives that life. Educate them on their general piece.
Like, it's crazy.
Common sense here.
I just was trying to see what
Sure.
you're
I taught you nothing. I have given you all the ammunition you need to shoot down anyone who says sex work or high body counts are okay, and why most people would reject someone who lives that life. Educate them on their genital herpes.
What?
Just
Oh.
because I think they're
One
saying,
side.
like, they know most people probably wouldn't, but they wouldn't want to date the people who would disqualify them on that basis anyway, and they'd keep looking. No?
Sorry, what? Could you repeat that? Sorry, I was reading the chat.
It's okay. I just think that all they were saying is that it's valid for people to have those preferences, but they're not interested in dating people with those preferences.
That's totally
anyway.
fine.
Yeah,
but that's
I think that's
totally
all they were
fine.
saying.
But that's not what
But
he was
called
saying.
it small-minded.
Well, what
Yeah.
he was saying is just that most people wouldn't.
Yeah.
Which
He's probably
you-
right, but
you
like what you were
disagree with
saying is that if they got to know a sex worker, like they might go in with that bias, but then if they actually had the opportunity to, for whatever reason, to
Yeah.
get to know a sex worker, they could fall for one. I agree with you. I
Yeah.
think it's
But
possible.
that infatuation would last, what, like 3 months before their objection to a prostitute's work would become a roadblock.
I don't think they would act.
Yeah, if you are doing sex work, you cannot expect the relationship to go on long term, because the person knows the fact that you're doing this stuff, and it'll eventually erode away the relationship, because he sees that he or she sees that you're not being exclusive to that person. Like if I dated somebody, I don't want her to show her body like that throughout the entire internet for any guy to see and pay for. I want her to be mine. I want to have her to myself and not share her to the world. And that's not bad, or that's not horrible or anything. That's just me wanting her to be exclusive to me.
On it. I think they would like, oh shit,
relationship.
I'm in love with the stripper, but it doesn't change the fact that like I don't see this as compatible with my life.
Maybe
I
in
don't see this as
another
compatible with my
dimension.
life or whatever, so I'm not going to date her. But that's different than
I think, we're
not
all
falling for them
confusing
at
the
all.
word connection with infatuation. A guy can be infatuated with a woman who does sex work for a while, but does that last into a real relationship that will end in marriage? No. Like their objection to her line of work
It's basically just called puppy love. It doesn't last.
will eventually end that relationship.
Do you guys know anyone at the Bunny Ranch who is like a sex worker at the Bunny Ranch and married?
Yes. There's plenty of women that are married at the
But we just can't
Do you think they're in like
I'm
unhappy
saying
marriages?
about men who are already uncomfortable with dating women in that line of work.
Then they just shouldn't.
Even if they end up
Turn your phone over.
She's
Even-
saying they're not small-minded because she called those men small-minded and they're not. And she's trying to
I mean,
explain
your
why.
preference is your preference, but just if you don't want to, then just don't.
what we're saying
But
is
I
that
was
most
saying-
men would not, and you guys
I
aren't
was
willing to
speaking.
admit
No, that's-
that.
I was
Can't
speaking.
you
I
just
don't.
admit that?
I think
most
we're
men would
injecting
date
that's
some
men?
not what we're
nuance
talking
into
about.
it
I mean, I
because
get what
you're
you're
talking about like. I think we're just injecting nuance into it because you're talking about a descriptive claim, right? Observations about the world. It's probably true that most people don't want to date a sex worker. I agree with you.
Okay, thank you.
We never disagreed with that.
Yeah.
She keeps backtracking on everything she says. They have been disagreeing with it. They can't seem to accept the fact that most people, 80 to 90% of people, will not date somebody who's a sex worker. The physical attraction is what brings them in. But as soon as they find out that you're a sex worker, immediate turnoff. Nope, they don't want to. It's sex work is not conducive to a healthy relationship. It's not. It may last for a few months, but majority of the time, probably about 95 to 98% of the time, it will not lead to marriage. And it will not lead to having kids.
What I'm saying is that it's possible. There's other variables that you're not considering that could change that, and what the preferences that people express are different than their actions. And I'm saying that I think that there's plenty of people, even though they say that would immediately disqualify it. I think there's more people than you guys are willing to admit that would change their mind if they actually met a sex worker that they happen to be connected with.
But the main question we were starting from here is if we would.
And we-
Okay, we're looping. Okay.
Like we completely derailed, but that was the main question.
That's fine.
They're
They're
trying so incredibly hard to justify keeping their sex work job. Look, if you want to be a sex worker, that's fine. Do what you want, make your money. If it makes you happy, go right ahead. But do not expect to find a relationship and have that lead to marriage and kids. Because it's probably 95-90% of the time, it's not going to lead to that. It'll lead to maybe a few months, and then the relationship will be over. because sex work, OnlyFans, or whatever sort of sex work that you're doing for money is not conducive to a healthy relationship. It's just not. It's factually not. You're not going to find somebody who's okay with you doing sex work and still wanting to marry you and have kids with you. So if you're going to do this sex work, expect to probably have short-term relationships or just be alone until you're an old cat lady. So let me know what you people think about this in the comments below. I would love to hear what your thoughts are. If there are any other videos you'd like to see me react to, please make sure to either comment them down below or post them over on the Discord channel. And I will get to them as soon as I am able to. I have a channel over on Twitch that I stream to every Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturdays. Please make sure to go check that out. I would love to see you all there whenever I stream. Links to my Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, and Discord are all in the description below. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.